Comparison ruins good things. I have friends with means. I have friends that can travel. I have friends that can do a lot of things without restrictions, you know, and that enrich their life. And I kind of can't do those things. I have to kind of plan ahead. I have to work more hours. Hello, good morning. Today I want to talk about how comparison is the worst. Comparison ruins good things. Comparison brings out doubts or makes doubts real. And the way that I've been able to kind of live my life and genuinely and generally be a positive person is because I don't look at someone and say to myself, I wish I was them. I wish I had their life. Because you never know what that life comes with in terms of the costs and the consequences that you don't see that's below the surface. We just see what's up here, but we don't know what's down here. We don't know what that actually entails and what that actually means. And yeah, like who wouldn't love to be rich? Like, for example, Jeff Bezos, he has a lot of money and he probably has a lot of fake friends and a lot of enemies because he has a lot of money. But he also had a divorce, you know, a strained marriage probably that led to the divorce. He had a scandal. He looks like he's happy now with his new boo. I don't know if he's with a new boo, but it's like, you can have all the money in the world and your relationships not make it. Like, you know, so it's like, and also I've heard that, yeah, people would rather cry in a Ferrari than be homeless crying on the street. Like, that makes sense. But when it comes to comparison, it's always, I feel like it's always when it comes to comparison, it always seems that there's some sort of lack. And that's the problem with comparison. If only we were able to look at someone and feel inspired to do more or to be more or to want to collaborate and say, hey, I recognize that you're doing extremely well in these areas and I'm interested in growing in those areas, and I want to see what that looks like and feels like. I'd love to support you, and I'd love to learn more about your practices, your habits, what you actually do and what it actually takes. Like, if comparison brought out those kind of emotions, then I would say that it's good. But when it comes to comparison, it makes it feel like those emotions come out as, oh, I'm not enough. Oh, I'm never gonna get this. Or, oh, like, I must be bad because, you know, XYZ. Comparison makes you feel bad and horrible about what you do have. And that's not good. We all have been given a life. I don't know if you see my homepage, but I have the 400 trillion to 1. Thanks to Gary Vee. And it's the odds of being human. It's the odds of being a human being. 400 trillion to 1, the odds of being human. So the fact that you're even watching this right now, the fact that I'm even talking to this camera, and the fact that you're feeling bad about what you don't have, like, what are we doing? Why are we here? Like, what is the purpose of this? You know, to compare what I don't have or what I do. I'm gonna be sad because my equipment isn't top notch like these top YouTubers, you know? But yeah, people are really going through it, you know? Gary made me kind of understand, like, I really have nothing to complain about, and I really gotta, like, just work and do my thing and, like, figure out where I can support others, because he said the only person really that can complain is the last person. Like if there's 7 billion people, the person that's 7 billion, that person can complain, you know what I mean? Who's at the bottom. Like if you're lucky to be alive and you're in America and you have access to a phone and you know, you can do something, right? Like you can really do something. You can make something out of nothing. And I'm not saying like it's not okay to ask for help or anything. Like, yeah, we have services like Ask for Help, but it's like complaining about the life you were given. We can't control that. We can't control the situation that we're born into. It literally is like the lottery, right? Everyone got a ticket, but not everyone has the winning numbers. So with the numbers you do have, with the cards that you were dealt, what can you do to make the most out of the situation? So, like, I'm in New York City right now. I moved here for career aspirations, and it was so hard to go corporate. Like, I was working in retail, I was working in the service industry, and I had this goal I was going to go into tech. And that's the only goal that kind of kept me going to survive the horrible jobs that I had and that I was working here. And I got it. I got my first corporate job. It's not in tech, but it's one thing, you know, it's one win for me personally. And I just feel like we do have a choice. Like, we can choose whether or not we want to make today a good day. I'm not saying like everything needs to be perfect. I don't know what you are currently experiencing, how your home life is, and whether or not you are kind of stuck in your situation. But I'm just saying that the only thing we really can control is our mindset and our attitude about the situation. And we have to be real with like what it's going to take. But you don't need to compare your life to other people and say like you're never gonna get there, or why do they have that and I don't have anything. Look, this is what I'm realizing. This is what I'm realizing. I recently went to the Edge in Hudson Yards to celebrate a birthday, my friend's birthday, and it was a symbol for being on the top, right? Like, the view from the top is beautiful. Like, you really can't appreciate what the city landscape is until you see it from a different perspective, right? Because when you're on the ground and you're walking through the streets, it's just like, oh my gosh, so many people, oh my gosh, oh yeah. But when you're at the top, it's breathtaking. You have a different appreciation for what's below. And I feel like there's room at the top for everyone. And unfortunately, a lot of people, one, don't look up. They don't think like that's possible. And they don't think that maybe they deserve it or that they can get it. And I think it was Kelly Stamps. I know I always mention her, but I really do love her content. She said how she basically was inspiring people to start a YouTube channel because there's so much money. There's so much money up for grabs, so much money on the table once you kind of find your rhythm and find what you want to talk about. And Kelly just made me think that the hardest part is starting. The hardest part is starting and actually gaining traction, right? Like building the momentum. It starts with a single push though. You have to just push, and then eventually those pushes add up, and then the ball gets rolling. The wheels start turning. You know, there is some electricity. And it makes me think how it's so hard to earn money in the beginning. But then over time, it might be a year for some, it might be 10 years for others. Money is the last thing you think about. It's easy. It comes to you easily. Like, so much money. I think she was on a podcast with Natalie Barbu, and they said how once they hit certain numbers and subscribers, the amount of money they made, like imagine how much you make in 30 days, right? I'm not talking being a YouTuber, I'm talking like going to work. The amount you make. Maybe you make $2,000 a month. Maybe you make $5,000 a month. Maybe you make $800 a month. Maybe you make $500 a month. Maybe you make $10K a month. Imagine making that amount, X, from one post. It costs you nothing to post that. Like the amount of physical labor to post something is zero. It's like mental labor, it's emotional labor, right? It's not really physical. But the amount of money you made from one action, like this to me is mind-blowing. This to me is like goals, right? Like working smart, not harder, right? How do you make your money work for you? But imagine making that whatever X amount that it takes for 30 days of work from one sponsored post, or from just one video that's monetized and making you money because you have a high CPM or whatever, right? You have to work really, really hard on a consistent level for a long stretch of time. And then those numbers have to increase. People have to support you, you know, and they have to bring their friends. Those subscribers bring their friends, and like, it's like 10 degree of connections, supporting your content, building you up because you were being consistent and providing value. And then eventually you pass that threshold, and now all your hard work, you're benefiting from it. Like it's the results, the fruit of your labor is the ease of money flowing to you. You don't have to work as hard, which means hopefully that you can actually focus on things you care about, because money is no longer a driving force, because you've hit it, like you reached the top, right? In terms of like security and financial freedom, which I think is the goal for a lot of people, being financially free. What would you do if you had financial freedom? That's a huge question. But when I talk about comparison, it goes back to being yourself. Like, we're all gonna age, you know, hopefully we're all gonna grow, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, spiritually, whatever it takes. I can't live life thinking about what someone has and what I don't. I'd much rather think, what would I like to change about myself? And what are the steps that I can do to get a little closer to my goals? So I let other people inspire me. I look at people and I think, wow, they are examples of what's possible. So I think when you reframe it and when you look at people who are where you want to be or doing better than you, or like living life to the fullest, one, don't look at social media, because social media, we're all putting our best face forward, right? Like I wish there was another way to kind of see what people are really going through, but we only know based on what they share with us or what they tell us. And usually when they talk about the hard times, they talk about it like a year after they actually went through it, and they're obviously doing a little bit better. I rarely see people talking about hard times as they're currently going through them. So we never know what people are actually going through. But when I see people who are where I want to be, like I have rich friends. I have friends with means. I have friends that can travel. I have friends that can do a lot of things without restrictions, you know, and that enrich their life. And I kind of can't do those things. I have to kind of plan ahead. I have to work more hours. I have to figure things out. You know, I have to ask a little bit more questions. I'm not at a place yet in my life where I can go to like a dinner and like easily put down my card and be like, I have the table. I want to like cover the whole table. Like, I wish I could be like, I'm paying for all of us tonight. Like I can't do that. So I have to really kind of not be sad about that and like blame myself or whatever. I just have to kind of take it all with a grain of salt. Like eventually, you know, if we keep working, maybe I can, you know, pay for the whole restaurant. Hey, everybody, dinner on me. Like, but it's okay. But when I see people that I know or don't know and they are living life the way I want, instead of getting jealous of them, I say she or he is an example of what's possible. They are examples of what's possible. Because that reframes everything. That makes it more positive. That makes me feel better, right? So if there's someone that's working out and they look chiseled and they look good, it's not easy working out. It's a lot of hours with what you eat, how you work out, how you diet. You know, it's a lot of saying no. Like, no, not today. Like, I need to focus. It's a lot of discipline, you know? Like, yes, we're getting up right now. Yes, we're doing this, we're doing this, or we're doing that. And I think you have to be honest with yourself. Like, you say you want X, but are you willing to do Y and Z? And if you are willing to do Y and Z, then let's go. Let's go. You know, the clock is gonna run anyway. The time's gonna go anyway. So who are you waiting for? But if you say you want X, but you're not willing to do Y, Z, A, then you have to realize that you're only hurting yourself, you know? This is something I definitely want to continue to talk about because there's so much to kind of unravel here, but I think it's very important to figure out at the core why you continue to compare yourself to other people, but you don't make changes. I wish like we could just stop comparing ourselves, but I think we'll always do that because at the end of the day, we are insecure with feeling like not up to par. We're insecure with ourselves. And we really need to take some time to appreciate the fact that, you know, we have our own minds. We are capable of achieving other things. And we all don't need to be the same person. We just need to focus on being our best selves. So the only person, to kind of just close this up and kind of end things, the only person you should really be competing with or comparing yourself to is yourself. Everything else is just there to kind of inspire and show you what's possible. But if you want to get better, don't compare to this person or that person. Use them as examples of how far you can go, of how much you can do, and ask them to see if you can hang out with them so you can learn from them. Yeah, definitely. I think if people knew how people really felt, that would be game-changing too. What do you think about comparison? I do think comparison is a thief of joy, and I want to live a very joyous life. I just want to focus on feeling joy. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Hope y'all have a good one. Do y'all like the background? Is this a little better? Is this view a little better? Let me know.